What if the serpent was telling the truth? Most people know about the creation story, but you've never heard it like this before. This is Genesis from Adam's perspective. In this gospel, Adam teaches his son Seth about the nature of reality, the upcoming flood, and his time in Eden with Eve. It is a counter-narrative to the traditional Genesis story, which the Gnostics believed was an inversion of the truth. Keep in mind that the people who wrote the books in the canon worshipped the God of the Bible. So, of course, they painted him in a positive light and glossed over the many atrocities that he committed. But Adam and Eve rebelled against God, and the apocalypse of Adam is written from the viewpoint of those rebels. Adam explains that God is an imposter who created humanity to be his slaves, and there's a way for humanity to escape. So, is God actually the devil? Did he create humanity to be his slaves? Is Earth a prison? And if so, how do we escape? Let's see what Adam has to say. According to the apocalypse of Adam, Adam and Eve were divine and powerful, more powerful than God, and we resembled the great eternal angels, for we were higher than the God who had created us and the powers with him. To understand this fully, know that the church banned many books from the canonical Bible, and some of those books belonged to a group of Christians called Gnostics. Gnostic translates into knowledge, and this group claimed to have secret knowledge that could liberate humanity. If you're new to this concept, I have a playlist called Gnosticism Explained on my channel. There is another banned gospel called the Secret Gospel of John, and it reveals what Adam is trying to portray. It tells us that the God of the Bible is an evil imposter named Yaldabaoth, and that the true God is a perfect mind called the monad. And one of the monad's many divine expressions was a powerful and perfect human being. It is in this way that we are created in God's image. This makes humanity higher than the imposter God in the Bible. Yaldabaoth has absolutely no connection to love, compassion, or the divine. Yaldabaoth, the lord of this material world, was angered at the fact that humanity was more powerful than him. So as punishment, he trapped the perfect human being in the prison of the physical body, split it into two parts, the masculine and the feminine, and threw it into the material world as punishment. He then wiped their memories so that they would forget their divine origins, and tricked humanity into believing that it was the one true God. Yaldabaoth demands blind faith and constant worship, all while making humanity its slaves. The Gnostics referred to this as the two tombs, the tomb of the limiting physical body and the tomb of the material world. They intended to make him anew, this time from earth, water, fire, wind, which are matter, darkness, desire, the artificial spirit. This all became a tomb, a new kind of body. Those thieves bound the man in it, enchained him in forgetfulness, made him subject to dying. His was the first descent and the first separation. God places Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden to be his slaves, but the Gnostic Eden is nothing like the paradise described in the Bible. It says, "Their food is bitter, their beauty is corrupt, their food is deceit, their trees are ungodliness, their fruit is poison, their promise is death." As I'm sure you know, there are two trees planted in the Garden of Eden, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. Adam and Eve can eat from any tree except from the tree of knowledge. Did anybody else question why God would forbid knowledge? The Gnostics concluded that it was because the God of the Bible was evil and jealous and didn't want Adam and Eve to realize how powerful they were. So, there are two trees, the tree of life, which is not forbidden, and the tree of knowledge, which is forbidden. The Gnostics believed that the tree of life was there to further trap humanity by keeping them in a low vibrational state so that they could not overcome their animal-like instincts. They believed that the tree of life was something that infected humanity with an artificial spirit. This is what we now call the Jungian shadow, or the reptilian brain. It is instinct and desire, or the 4 Fs: fighting, fleeing, feeding, and fornicating. The Secret Gospel of John says, "Their root is bitter, its branches are dead, its shadow is hatred, its leaves are deception. The nectar of wickedness is in its blossoms, its fruit is death, its seed is desire, its flowers in the darkness. Those who eat from it are denizens of Hades. Darkness is in their resting place." In contrast to this, there is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The Gnostics believed that this tree represented love, reasoning, intuition, optimism, mercy, and trust, which are emotions that can only be accessed at a higher vibration. It's what the Gnostics called epinoia, which represents the power of thought, imagination, and inventiveness, and it is associated with the neocortex. As you can see, these two trees couldn't be more different, and the evil creator god Yaldabaoth is trying to keep humanity in a passive, animal-like state and to stop them from attaining knowledge, because he knows that if they do, they will become aware of their own divinity and realize that they are more powerful than him. According to the Gnostics, it wasn't the devil who tempted Adam and Eve to eat from the tree. It was Jesus Christ. He wanted humanity to escape. Even though Adam and Eve rebelled and ate the fruit, they were still divided, still entombed in a physical body, and still trapped in a world of matter. And they were constantly under spiritual attack from Yaldabaoth. In the Apocalypse of Adam, Adam is retelling this experience to his son Seth. This is important. The Bible tells us that Adam has 3 sons, Cain, Abel, and Seth. The Gnostics believed that Cain and Abel's father wasn't Adam, and that they were born from the rape of the evil god Yaldabaoth, and Seth was Adam's only biological son. He symbolizes the reunion of the divine feminine and masculine, which had been planted within their son Seth. This was very important to the Gnostics, and those who believed in this were called Sethians. They believed that most people were killed in the Great Flood, but some of Seth's descendants survive and go on to populate half of the human race. Symbolically, this means that many of us are divine and have the power to escape the material world. Now, back to the Apocalypse of Adam. Adam then goes on to warn Seth about the flood, which hasn't happened yet. In the Bible, God sends down a flood to drown everyone except for Noah and his family, because the rest of the world is sinful and Noah is obedient. Adam tells Seth that this is a lie, and the real reason Yaldabaoth will send the flood is because he is frustrated that Seth's descendants will rebel against him and refuse to submit to him. This is because Seth's descendants know intuitively that there is something very wrong with the world that Yaldabaoth has created. But Yaldabaoth sees that Noah and his family will blindly serve him. So Yaldabaoth sells down a flood to drown the entire world except for Noah and his family and the animals on the ark. But, unbeknown to Yaldabaoth, angelic light beings called Aeons save Seth's descendants by hiding them in a cloud of light. After the flood, Yaldabaoth strikes a deal with Noah. He promises him that if he continues to be his slave and repopulate the earth with more slaves, he will give the earth to Noah and make them powerful rulers. Behold, I have protected you in the ark, along with your wife and your sons and their wives and their animals and the birds of heaven, which you called and released upon the earth. Therefore I will give the earth to you, you and your sons. In kingly fashion you will rule over it, you and your sons. And no seed will come from you of the men who will not stand in my presence in another glory. Noah agrees to this and tells his sons of the deal that he has struck with the devil, God. My sons, listen to my words. Behold, I have divided the earth among you, but serve him in fear and slavery all the days of your life. Let not your seed depart from the face of God the Almighty. Again, has anybody else questioned why we are told to fear God, or is it just me? Then Seth and his descendants are returned to the earth from the clouds, and Yaldabaoth becomes angry because he believes that Noah betrayed him. Noah then tells Yaldabaoth, I have no idea who these kids are or where they came from. Why have you departed from what I told you? You have created another generation so that you might scorn my power. Then Noah will say, I shall testify before your might that the generation of these men did not come from me, nor my sons. The Gnostics believed that the earth is populated by two groups, the Sethians, who refuse to submit to Yaldabaoth and who are working to free themselves and others out of the trap of the material world, and those who have chosen the opposite path, who have made a deal with the devil and who have become slaves to this system. It is symbolic. We have mainstream Christianity, which is focused on sin, repentance, and blind faith, and Gnostic Christianity, which is about knowledge, seeing through the illusion of the material world and becoming like God. The Gnostics were great philosophers, and they liked to look at things metaphorically, and they considered a range of different possibilities when forming their beliefs. They looked at the books that are now included in the Bible and thought, this God is not kind or loving or powerful. They concluded that this must have been the devil. I believe that we need to become more like Adam and Eve. We need to eat from the tree of knowledge, which is of course symbolic for rebelling against the evil rulers of this world, using our minds to free ourselves and being an example to others who desire to do the same.